According to legends, 3 a.m. is usually when spirits come out and are at their most powerful. Is that really true? Let's listen to 3 stories that happened at 3 a.m. Throw away your blanket, turn on your lights. You don't want to go to sleep yet. I mean, they'll just wake you up at 3 a.m. tonight anyways. "3 a.m. awakening." My cousin Travis, who was age 12 at the time, and me, age 10, were staying at his house, and before we went to sleep, he said, "I have to warn you something will happen at 3 tonight," and well knowing Travis, I thought he was just trying to scare me. I was wrong. It was hard for me to fall asleep from what he said. I finally fell asleep at 1, and at 3 in the morning, I felt a light shaking, and I thought it was my aunt. So I said, "Aw, aunt, 5 more minutes." I was wrong. It wasn't my aunt. Whatever it was, it shook harder and harder, and I burst up from my bed and saw nobody in sight. I shook Travis and I said to him, "Something just shook me half to death." I was crying of fear, and he said, "I told you that you were going to get a mean awakening at this time," and I asked why. According to him, every night at 3, something shakes him. And so I asked why it shook me tonight. He said it was probably because I was new there and it wanted me to know that it was there. But still, to this day, I am 17 now, and I am still afraid of that house, and I never knew what the thing was. Please, if you have any idea what the thing was, please comment and tell me. "3 a.m. wake-up call. What could it have been?" So when I was 16 years old, I was living with my father. We don't really have a good relationship, so I would go to bed really early, 8 p.m. at this time. It was late spring, and one night I woke up at the time and I didn't know why. For about 3 weeks, I would wake up at 3 a.m. on the dot. I still didn't understand why I felt like this. At this point, I assumed I was just going completely crazy. One night, it just seemed different. I woke up at 3 a.m. as usual, but my room felt abnormally cold. I slept with a blanket on the matter of the year. Okay, so after I lay there for 5 minutes, I had a digital clock beside my bed on my table, so I sleep on my stomach. I had this old bed that creaks, and at the foot of my bed, it felt like somebody is sitting down. The bed creaks and everything. At this point, my heart is beating so fast, and I felt like I was going to die. I go to call my dad into my room, but nothing will come out. I had no voice. I can't move. But then whatever it was starts to rock back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now that wasn't the worst part. Whatever it was, slowly, almost teasingly, runs its hands from my feet all the way to my waist. Then it moves all the way up to my neck. Keep in mind, I sleep on my stomach. At this point, it starts to breathe on my neck. Really heavy breathing. I can hear it, but I can't do anything. It stays like that for a few minutes. After that time passes, it goes back to sitting at the foot of my bed, rocking. This continued to happen for a few months. Now, after a while, it didn't creep me out as much. At this point, I felt safe around whatever it was, but it was something that I didn't know, something I couldn't comprehend. So I told my dad. He's very religious, I'm not. He insisted on blessing my room and me. After the night he blessed my room, I had no more encounters. Can anyone potentially tell me what this thing could have been? 3 o'clock in the morning. Lately, things started happening to my sister. She's 2 years younger than me. Nothing happened to her while I was under attack almost a year ago. But that changed about 6 weeks ago. I'll leave my story for another time. So back to my sister. She was sleeping and suddenly woke up in the middle of the night and realized that she was paralyzed. Normally, she would be too scared and try to fight it. After a while, the paralysis wear off. She quickly turned on the light and looked at the time. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. This became a frequent thing. Having trouble sleeping and waking up for no reason between 3 and 4 a.m. Sometimes being paralyzed. One time, she felt like something was trying to pull her soul out of her chest. Similar things happened to me before, but it didn't feel like it was trying to pull something out. I felt like it grabbed my heart and squeezed it really hard. Believe me, that didn't tickle. So it must have been painful for my sister as well. There was this one time when she was asleep and woke up while someone was pulling her leg. This someone was pretty strong too. A few moments after, she woke up and it stopped. She thought it was me, but when she turned the lights on, she saw me lying on my bed, sleeping, sound asleep. For 2 weeks, she was really friggin' scared. We went to bed quite late at night. One night at around 2:30 in the morning, I couldn't sleep. I had this gut feeling that there was something in the room. So I went to our living room, which was right outside our door, and watched TV. Less than 10 minutes after I turned on the TV, I heard my sister turn on the lights in the room. That's how close the proximity is. I thought I woke her up, and I felt sorry because the TV was too loud or something. So, instinctively, I turned the volume down. When suddenly, the door of our room opened, and what I saw still freaks me out. The door opened and I saw my sister's scared face. She was breathing really heavily. This was serious. She's not the type to get scared easily. I'm the one that's the chicken. Of course, I asked, "What's wrong?" She said it happened again. She could feel it grab her feet and the paralysis started to spread. When she finally shook it off and opened her eyes, she saw something on the wall that she was facing while sleeping. My God, it looked like a gray shadow with no eyes and an open black mouth. I was so scared. She then quickly turned on the light and it was gone. Just when she sort of felt relieved that this thing had disappeared, she looked around the room, and she realized that I was gone as well. It scared the hell out of her, because she thought that she was in a nightmare from which you cannot wake up from. Of course, that was not the case. Me and my sister had those quite often. You wake up in your sleep, and everything looks so real you think you're awake, but soon realize you are not. And then something usually bad happens. That kind of nightmare. I don't have to say that she was more than glad to see me watching TV in the living room. I then went with her to our bedroom, and we slept with a nightlight on. I didn't have an uneasy feeling at that time, so we both fell asleep, and nothing attacked us. It's been a week and nothing's happened. My sister seems pretty back to normal. But still, I'm not entirely sure that that thing is gone, whatever it was. And I don't think it's the same thing that attacked me last time. Or it could be that it's back and mad for some reason. I really don't have a clue. But I'd like it to leave us alone for good. Thank you for reading. And if you have any comments, please write them down below. Any help is appreciated.